YouTube community, it's Saturday. This is usually when I chit chat about things in fiction, media, things that I like. We discuss and we have fun. Today, it's a Jonathan Majors heavy discussion. I invited a panel of people who are going to be joining and chiming in, but the main focus right now is the Rolling Stones hit piece. From the beginning, there's always been a slant or some sort of a hit towards him. They wanted to slight him, they wanted to call him names. What's going on, Sanadek? He says, Deya. I know who that is. Listen, they always told you that Jonathan Majors was guilty in their writing and their ways. This is just the newest way that they're doing it. They began by sharing that TMZ story he got arrested, right? And even when Jonathan Majors comes out to say, actually, I'm innocent, I'm the one who dialed 911, that seems to get ignored all the time. That was confirmed on May 9th. That came out the hearing that on May 9th, the dialer of 911, as I'm joined by SSJK.Sanctum. Hey,
Today is a very, very, very interesting day. Well, interesting day after the previous day.
when we saw what they said about him and when we monitor what's going on, every step, even when like there's a restraining order, there's a protective order against her, we're like, yeah, that's standard. And he comes out and through his lawyer saying we didn't ever want anything to do with her because she was the one who put hands on him. Remember that restraining order news was huge. The PR dropped him. That was, oh look, it's another bad day for him, and all of these sort of noise about him to hurt him. And we're just like, yo, what happened in that car? He told you he has a witness. And the only thing we got right now about that witness helps him. There's a chauffeur who's driving that car. I got to add Rosales into the mix. Hello, what's going on, Rosales Comics? There's a chauffeur there driving and can attest that Jonathan Majors didn't put hands on her, didn't even raise his voice. So, Rosales, you're noticing the hit pieces. You're seeing the slander. What's the pattern of this? What are some sort of past news articles that have been done against somebody to try to, as William Regal would say, besmirch him?
Well, there's always a pattern of taking somebody who's winning the fight to go ahead and take them down a peg here and there and there and there. One example is Mel Gibson, who got on the wrong side of the law and the wrong side of a particular group of people.
He got on the wrong
Now,
side of me.
yeah, yeah, by saying the things that he said in a drunken state, and then his wife comes out and records a bunch of stuff and lets that out into the public eye. And from that point on, it's like anytime he can make his way forward, another story comes out, another rumor hits, and it just kept him from being as successful as he quite possibly could have been. Because at the moment of his drunken outburst, and that's what it was a drunken outburst, he wound up destroying every single bit of momentum that he had. And try as he might to fight against the system, they continue to attack him.
I kind of disagree. I mean, no, not that I kind of disagree. Everything you said happened. That's how it goes, right? As soon as he's trying to get momentum, they'll go back to the past and find something. Except he actually did what he did in the past. When it comes to Jonathan Majors' situation, they're really stretching and saying, hey, well, we got 40 people, and all 40 of these people can attest that he's been just emotionally erratic and he's intimidating, intimidating. He's using that coded language that I see for what it is. There's a reason why 6 cops were sent to the suite. Not one, not two, not like a cruiser of a cop. It was he probably had to give his description to the 911 operator, and they go, "Oh, you're how tall? And you're are you white, black, Latino? Oh, yeah, okay." We're just
Well, all 40 of those people, me and Anzo read it yesterday on the Rolling Stone article. I didn't subscribe to it. Anzo had it. Those 40 people, no names, no nothing, no specific information, just very vague stuff. And it's not to say that it's not true, but he said it's from his time at Yale. It's his time filming some movies and stuff. And, you have to ask the question, how do you know this person? Because 5 of these people could have seen Jonathan Majors, in the middle of an argument with somebody at Yale, and they came to the middle of it and they go like, oh no, Jonathan sounds abusive. When, maybe, how well do these people know him? And then the people that talked about his relationships, right? It was a person on the article that said, they saw his relationship with another person and it appeared to be abusive. And I'm like, you're looking from the outside in. You don't know nothing about the relationship. I can look at, me and Anzo said this exactly on the stream yesterday, because everybody in high school at some point felt this way or did this. You're walking down the hall, right?
Yeah.
You see two couples in the hallway. They're all making out. And we can't lie. Some people have been very jealous of that stuff. You walking down the hall like, man, why are those people in love and stuff in front of me? Man, freak them. They're trash. They stop kissing in front of me because they're envious. They're jealous of. They want that. They want that. I can't act like I wasn't, kind of being, salty. Like, man, why they kissing in front of me? I want a girlfriend, right? But I'm not saying that's this. But when people are looking at stuff from the outside in, you have to like question like. What you have to, I'm wondering how well does this person know the relationship? Is this a person that was sitting in the same class with him and
we
his
don't know. Anonymous? Did
right,
you know 40 people when you were in school? Were there 40 people from your college?
I knew a lot of people, but I wasn't friends with like 40 people. I knew a lot of people. That's the thing too. Are these 40 people friends?
They know you just as soon as you become famous.
Right.
As soon as you become newsworthy and you have a chance to get your 5 minutes of fame, people will come out of the woodworks just to say, well, yeah, we went to the same school together. We went to this, we went to that.
Yep.
It happens with athletes too. You could be the father of somebody and you were dropping them off at practice all the time. And it turns out one of the players on the team went pro, right? You could be like, man, he was such a nice kid. Me and him, oh man, I can't wait to get in touch with him again. Because of that one time I dropped him off at the gas station because he was trying to go to me and him. I feel so proud of John Morant. Like there's people who are just gonna
one guy. There's always that one guy who's going to come up behind you and say, man, he always had the kindest buds.
Yep.
So you got people in Rolling Stone who have anonymity and the ability to speak without consequence. And you have the DA coming out, just like Chill said, who said they interviewed dozens of people. Doesn't mean that they said anything other than who they were, and I'm not going to talk to you. That's an interview. When it comes to the police, that is an interview.
Turn your volume up, Rosales. As well as none of these women have charged him. So far, he's got one case, and that case has to do with March 25th. And what happened on that day? They're going to 2012, trying to find some sort of story that could defame him, and they're trying their best to distract from why we're here. We're here because he dialed 911 when a half-naked suicidal woman who had been texting him all night, not once mentioning that my finger's broken or my ears are bleeding, cut. We're here because he died on her behalf. She went to the hospital and they turned that into, oh my God, she needed medical help. That's what's the intention of the phone call. The entirety of this thing is warped. Let's read some comments here. Do you think the DA is trying to shake down Jonathan Majors? What do you think, K-Dot?
I mean, well, it is, DA has a high profile actor. They can, get some, as you would say, clout off of, it's going to look good on their record. Oh, I took down another celebrity, another actor and stuff. And probably I took down a black abusive man too. If they wanted to have all the extra stuff in it, blah, blah, blah. But I think the DA is just fishing for anything because the DA, as we've seen in the first case, they did not have enough evidence to work with anything for that case. So they got it delayed so they can revisit this case with more evidence. And as I said, if there's a video, that's all the evidence you need. I mean, what else do you need? There's literally
I do question the motivation behind that because I don't necessarily think it's. Sorry, my son has got a cough, but I don't necessarily think it's like a systemic racism kind of thing. I mean, Alvin Bragg is the DA. Alvin Bragg is himself an African American.
I mean, the jury's up on that.
Continuing to.
That's why I say it's not the only factor because, for example, right, if Johnny Depp was in this, hell, I'd say even if it was Leonardo DiCaprio, if he was in this exact situation of supposedly abusing a woman, I mean, same thing would happen. There is a people have a new way of thinking, and a lot of it has to do with the Me Too stuff and all the recent stuff that has helped advance people coming out and speaking up about allegations and all that. But it's to a point where everybody is not being logical about it. And that's very dangerous. No one has ever really been logical about it. We can go back to the oldest example. It's the common example, Emmett Till, right? While that had
You're
a lot
gonna
of
go to Adam and Eve or something. All right, yeah.
But Emmett Till is the
Yeah,
best
in
example
the 50s. That's right.
that had a lot of.
It's not the same. I mean, they were white. All of those people were white.
No. Well,
You know,
it's
part
part of
that were
it.
hiding that. And you got Jeffrey B. Madry, who's the chief of police in New York City. He is also black. You've got a mayor of New York City who is also black. So the entire system is African American. So for the system to be racist, you would have to have all of these African Americans oppressing other African Americans for their skin color.
Well,
Which
I'm
is
saying that's
easy
what it
to
is.
see
I'm
from
saying
Canada.
these African Americans are upholding a racist system. That's what I would tell you.
all right. Well, we'll see. Look, all right, with my Emmett Till example, because I wasn't even going to throw race into it. It's just the fact that someone made an allegation, they lied about something, and people, while mind you, those people that believed the woman were racist and all that. That's a very extreme example I'm using, but that happens all the time. People will jump to believe anyone without questioning or trying to see what the facts truly are. And a
And I
little
believe
boy
you when
died
you
in the
release.
process because
I will
people didn't
100%
want to
back
be
you up on that.
logical. People
That
did
is
not want to be
exactly right.
logical. That's the thing. A lot of people just lack logic in general nowadays, and they want to jump the gun, and just be the first one to be, they want to be the first one to say, yeah, I was correct about him being guilty this whole time. I knew it. I told you guys. You should have believed me, right? It's just like little example, scoopers, right? Scoopers want to be the first ones to put out the news on the next big thing coming up in the movie, like the person who broke the news about the No Way Home thing with Toby and Andrew. The first person who broke that, they was like,
Mikey Sutton.
I got it out before everybody else. They just want that. People want that nowadays, and it's
Go
so
ahead,
weird.
Rosales. What was your point going to be?
Oh, I was just agreeing with him on the police aspect. The thing that boggles my mind is, yes, they probably do feel that way. That's why they brought back up. That's why they said the things that they said. That eventually we may or may not be able to see. If they drop the case, we won't see that body cam footage.
Damn.
If they continue forward, we probably
Really?
will see the body cam footage.
Sorry for interrupting. You say that last
No,
part.
go ahead. I just think if they do go to court, they will probably show the body cam footage, but they're going to wait
They more than
onto
likely
it
will.
until they get into court. But if they don't, then that body cam footage will probably be lost at some point.
Chaudhry and Majors have access to the footage. Would it be illegal for them to share it if they drop the case?
I'm not a legal expert when it comes to body cam footage, so
man, you're American. You're supposed to have all the answers.
I get close.
Well,
I can be wrong. There's always that.
Well, he'd have no reason to really. Like he doesn't have a reason now that body cam footage exists to exonerate him or to alleviate him of these charges. And if they do drop them because they're like, I guess we can't go through with this. We'll drop the charges. He'll get what he had wanted, and he won't have to show you footage of what his home looks like, which is a private thing. No one wants to show you. Like I barely turn my camera to the left and right. You guys don't know what's after these stars. Are there more stars? Are there moons? You don't know that.
We'll see. It depends, especially with a lot of these court cases and stuff, especially in America. When they release information after, sometimes it's official information that's released, but most of the time, it ends up just being stuff that just leaked. Like with the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case, right? The driver that was in the vehicle that saw what went down and could have easily broken down what happened never showed up to come talk on the stand, right? He was out of the country. They really couldn't get him. And 2 days before I think the verdict hit, some information came out about him that defames his character because he didn't, come out and I guess, it's not, I don't know
Sounds
what it's
familiar,
but he didn't come out and speak because, mind you, he was a third party person there that could have told us, like, yeah, he did that, she did that. That's what it was, right? But he never showed up because he didn't want to be associated with it. And then 2 days before the verdict, he gets exposed for, doing like pornography or something, right? That's what he got exposed for, doing pornography and stuff.
I'm glad you keep cooking on this subject. All anonymous. No one wanted to put a name on it. Stand on what you say if it's true. Blues House, you got a link if you want to join in and talk about this too. I call BS on not one of those cops not knowing who he is. I guess they didn't know who he was. I don't know. That's not that hard to believe. He is a 33-year-old. He's not someone who's
Hey,
been in the scene.
none of the cops knew who Falcon was, and Falcon never went a soldier. Remember? He was like, I'm Falcon. Who? He's Falcon.
Well,
He's an Avenger.
Yeah, no, but it's not impossible that those cops didn't know who he was. It's really not. It's definitely a possibility, especially if they're not into, like, maybe they don't watch a lot of movies, maybe they don't watch a certain type of
Lovecraft
movies.
Company.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Lovecraft Country. They don't watch Creed. But if they did watch Ant-Man, though, that's a big popular movie that a lot of people have seen.
I mean, but remember in the article it came out, one of the cops said, it's me paraphrasing. They was shocked about a black man being successful, and it's like, you live in New York. There's a lot of successful black people in New York in general. You got artists, rappers, you have you live in New York. Like it's
no, K-Dot.
They were shocked black people in New York
when they saw the 3-level penthouse. What they were shocked about wasn't because he was black; it's because he's a male. See, it was a sexist thing. They said, "Oh, how could a male afford something like this?" So you fix yourself up. There's a lot of racism deniers that are going on right now on YouTube that I'm seeing. And I'm like, you guys, there is racial bias in the police system, systemically, historically. Ask anyone in New York who experiences the police, experience being policed by police. They'll all tell you this. And then there's not a race card that was played just last week. It is since the beginning. We're here because of racism or racial bias or racial prejudice. Whatever the word is, it's got racial in front of it. I'm not denying that or belittling it. It's there. It's always been there.
Well, that's why I always agree. This both, like, I think there is as we've seen, there's a bigger. Men always had a bias against them, but I would say nowadays in this whole political space, there's a even bigger bias against men nowadays. In general,
the pendulum has shifted. Yes.
Yes,
like I'm to an extreme of being anti-men. I would agree with there. Right. So now it's time for things to level out. I think I thought Johnny Depp was something of a evening out of this pendulum, but no, I think still, based on what Majors is going through, Rolling Stone with 40 people, all anonymous, 2 days after she's a fugitive and she's actually not been arrested yet because she fled the country, even though they had a court date on June 20th. It feels like she was rushed out of the country. If she showed up on court, because he was supposed to show up on court, I would imagine it's the same thing for her, where she had to be there in court. But for some reason, she wasn't in the country. On June 21st is when he went to the precincts.
Well, this is the thing about it. I think, it's going to take a while until people start to really care about these situations and want for something to change. Jonathan Majors, just like Johnny Depp, I think are just going to be the early ones, and many more people that are just going to have to take the hit until another person comes out. And it gets to a point where everybody, all right, I'm over it. We need to put a stop to it. It happened with the Me Too stuff, and I think around 2016 when things is when this whole
Harvey Weinstein was 16, right?
I believe.
I think so.
But 2016 the political climate in general changed. That's when the Ghostbusters movie came out that kind of changed the climate with politics and stuff in this little pop culture thing. But I think Jonathan Major is going to be the one to take the hit until someone comes out and it's even greater than this and people are just over it and finally want to put a stop to it, when we should have put a stop to it, at Johnny Depp or even past before that. This isn't the first time this stuff happened, but
and here's the thing about the police. I just wanted to back up to that real quick. The things that they were saying to Jonathan Majors were very incendiary. And whether or not they were true doesn't matter, because they were not the ones that they were looking for something from him. They wanted him to give a tell. They wanted him to react negatively. They wanted a reason for to put cuffs on him and take him downtown. Eventually, they found one. But if you're talking down to somebody in a place of power, the police will do that all the time just to get you off your footing and put them on a better footing. They want him to say things. They want him to stand up to him. They want him to falter, and he has done his best from day one, from incident number one, to from taking her and putting her in the car to protect her from running out into the streets in the state that she was in, to calling the police and notifying them that she was suicidal. He
Right?
has done everything the right way. Now, the motivation for putting him, trying to put him on edge and getting him to say something or do something that would cause them to put handcuffs on him, I don't know the reasoning behind it. But here's what they do: anytime a police officer engages you for one reason or another and he's got a question for you, wants you to roll down a window, he's not your friend. He's looking for a collar. He's looking to find an offense. And there is no way whatsoever that what they say uh, isn't all about getting that particular collar, regardless of what it is.
Yeah,
Now,
regardless of the intention and motivations behind it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he could have used the racism to get that edge over him. I've seen it more than 100 times in my lifetime when a cop comes down and asks what you N-words are doing down here in this part of town, insinuating that there's absolutely no reason for you to be there. And me and my friends are just, walking home from school. You know, uh, my time period with racism is way back, and it was a lot more serious back then. There was almost negligent consequences to police officers who acted in bad faith. But I definitely think that there is a reason to investigate whether or not there is bad faith in these police officers, whether they did or didn't act in the public interest in doing what they did to Jonathan Majors.
Low key, I fixed your mic settings because the last time you were here, I had to turn it lower, and I realized that it was me who got you low. My bad. I'm sorry. Hey, yo, what is logic anyways? Not all skin folk is kinfolk. I think that's what you wrote about 10 minutes ago when I was talking about just the system of mayor and everyone are just upholding the same old thing. And then whoever the mayor is, those 6 cops who came on did something on their own that the mayor didn't sign off of or anyone really. Now everyone's protecting, and it feels like everyone's in favor of not having people go down, including the DA. It feels like there's a team that's against Majors right now. So Nito, I heard there's pentagrams. Oh, you're talking about the star? Yeah. There's a pentagram. I didn't even know what a freaking pentagram was, but you see it there? You see it there? There. Pentagram on the very right side.
Be careful, Chill. You're showing too much.
See, yeah. You can see this Chill mansion is going to be exposed. Oh, what up? I heard the DA told police to drop the iCard. That happened. They said that no, this is inactive. It can't work. There's not going to be an arrest. They tried to stop an arrest from happening. Just enough time, if you ask me, for her to go and flee the country. Now, if Major's team was slick with it, they could have gotten like a friend or something to be like, yo, because you're a model, right? We're going to do a photo shoot on June 21st. You down? And then she can agree to saying, yeah, I'm coming. I'm down. And then they can be able to prove, no, she had a goal, or not a goal, but a date that was set on June 21st to do some work, but then she fled the country and she didn't even fulfill her promise. And we can have like the photographer be like, yeah, I was waiting for her all day, but she told me she canceled on me last minute. And we'd be like, so it wasn't a scheduled trip to return to England. You were here on June 20th for the court case. Yes, stepped out on June 21st because they tipped you off. They tried to delay this arrest from happening, deactivate the investigation card, the electronic warrant to get her arrested. For lack of a better word, those are my words, not official words. If I'm saying it wrong, then I'm wrong. They watch hillbilly movies. Sure. Kimoyo Kid says cops are more aware of who you are than you know. That's scary. But I don't think they knew who Jonathan Major was. For the common folk, if that's what you mean, fine. But a celebrity like that, I don't think that there's additional information they had. Because when they realize that it is a celebrity, they do give celebrity bias. And I don't think that was awarded to Jonathan Majors at all. How old were the police? 35, 40? They should know who he is. I've been fighting police my whole life. They are corrupt as hell. I co-sign that. I don't understand how the DA believes they have a case. They're going back in time.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not shocked they didn't know exactly who Majors was because, not everybody watches Marvel films. Not saying everybody, but a lot of people do watch them, but there is people that, you will find out that don't watch these comic book movies and stuff like that.
The cops were Snyder stands.
Yeah, they was just, you know, they was BVS fanboys.
Team DC. They never mentioned Harvey. Why is Anthony Mackie being criticized? Well, all he said was that he's innocent until proven guilty. And that's like a normal thing to say, right?
Right.
So anyone criticizing him is on an extreme.
Well, the people criticizing him believe he has a mentality of don't believe the victim when he's just saying he's innocent until proven guilty. And, you know, it's not to say that the victim is wrong, but he is innocent until proven guilty, and he's getting a chance to prove his innocence, and you got to give him that chance.
If they can coordinate go Rosales.
I was just going to say that's the black and white mentality of absolutes that people deal with these days. If you award the opportunity for Jonathan Majors the innocent until proven guilty, which is what the court of law says, then you are saying in this black and white absolutes that the woman is lying until proven truthful. So they're saying, they're using that as an argument to keep him down and say, oh, no. If you say this, then this means this, you know? Yeah. And it doesn't. They're two absolutely separate statements that don't go together whatsoever. I mean, she may well be telling the truth. She may well not be telling the truth. It's looking like she's not telling the truth, but she fled the scene. And I think probably when we're talking about celebrity bias, I think maybe she's more connected to something than anybody knows about. If she's being afforded opportunities to leave the country, to not go to jail, to not be investigated, and things are being shut down, and Jonathan Majors has to take the fall for a lover's spat, then there's more going on in her background than there is on his. But that's just me speculating.
She's out the country now, right?
It's me too. And that's Anzo's neck of the woods too. We talk about these plants that get planted. We talk about that stuff.
Absolutely.
She's currently out the country right now?
Yeah. She's in England. That's why she can't be arrested. She's supposed to be.
And what did she recently leave to England, or was she?
You see, they don't say when she left, right? And that's.
But I know that Majors was supposed to be in court June 20th. Yeah, he goes to the cops and the investigators who decide, we have probable cause. That's on June 21st. So if she had to be in court on June 20th, just like Majors did, then
and it was recent when she,
they tried to delay the investigation and the arrest. Did Anzo say something just now, Anzo?
I was just gonna say, I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
My mistake for talking over.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say something, and Rosales, I let him go. And it's this: if there could be coordinated hit pieces against him, there needs to be celebrities. Michael B. Jordan posting Instagram posts with him, buddy, smiling and offering positive stuff. And Anthony Mackie was the only guy to say something, and even that is just being neutral. There needs to be, I think things people got to do better.
The only person from Marvel Studios that has said anything about this, the only person.
Yeah, the only actor.
I remember what I was going to say. It was to Roselle's comment, right, where he's talking about, guilty until proven innocent. And if you go that way, she's wrong. Well, with the Me Too movement, it's believe all women, right? That's what the narrative they try to push. Believe all women. No matter what happens, believe all women. And what's happening now is taking away from the real victims, because you have Amber Heard, you have this one now. So it's like, well, we can't believe all women, but there are cases out there that we should believe. But because they're throwing that in there, it's hard to believe everything now.
Once they knew his name, they Googled him in real time. Then they went after him. He was a high-profile target. We should have put a stop to it at O.J. Simpson. Yo,
all right, nerd man, you're taking it too far now.
Explain that one. Somebody send him the link, please. Is the Majors incident another Johnny Depp situation?
Oh, you don't know Nerdman's opinion on the OJ thing?
I thought you heard it. Glove fit? I don't know. Yo, Mike, I heard your voice. I heard your big sigh. Let's hear it.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How you doing,
Mike?
Guys. That's good. I last night Anzo said something, and I'm sorry, DC Dots, I couldn't get on last night. I wasn't getting a signal. I don't know what was going on, but he said about people, because I know DC Dots mentioned Ray Fisher and abuse. That's what it was. Like there are different, there are levels to like what you might think is abuse, I might not think. Like for instance, if I'm working on a movie set and say, you know, Joss Whedon or something yelled at me or something because I wasn't doing my job or I didn't do it, that's not abuse. You just, you know, you're being dressed down because you're not doing things the right way. So
the director is directing.
Right, exactly. So I don't know exactly what Anzo was saying that in response to what DC Nuts was saying, but I don't know the entire story of what's going on. I saw the thumbnail from the previous video you did about her being a fugitive or something like that. So I don't know where things are right now, but you know, I'm just glad that it seems at least, and I know you guys just mentioned now about nobody at Marvel coming out and saying stuff, you know, or whatever, but to their credit, they didn't, what's the word, have that
Fire
immediate
him.
reaction. Yeah, well, you know, yeah, that knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, you know what, we're replacing him. Now whether it's because they don't want to mess up their story, but I mean, why would they stay in this long if, you know what I mean? Or maybe behind the scenes they are trying to, well, he was actually a variant of Kang and this is the real Kang, it's the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy, like, you know, that kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
so
entertaining that, you don't realize the damage you're doing to him long term because everyone has an audience. I have an audience right now. There's 48 of you watching. Thank you. It's usually not 48. Anzo, remember yesterday when I told you I'm gonna do a live stream and I'm gonna feed the algorithm? Remember that? I was right. 49 people here.
Nice.
Everyone thumbs up.
Hit the like button, guys.
Appreciate that. But we have audiences and we have responsibilities, right, Kata?
Yeah, we do.
I have 3 people that follow me.
Well, I'm glad Mike brought it up because you know, it's just the example he's talking about yesterday, how people will look, you know, like the people that went to school with Jonathan that supposedly came out and spoke out. They walked in and saw something, but I don't know what they saw, and they don't know the full picture of the situation. Just like we brought up with Ray Fisher, right? He thought it was wrong that his barber who cut his hair that wasn't officially hired by WB to cut his hair, he felt his barber should have had his name in the credits, right? Now he thought that was part of, you know, abuse and all that. In my opinion, I go like, well, you know, you just had a guy that you know cut your hair. I mean,
he wasn't on file, and when people were writing
right,
names,
like that's not anything to be complaining about, or you know, like that's not abusive. That's not
I'm not one to defend Ray Fisher, but it's not wrong to try to bring somebody up with you when you're making your name for yourself. You know, everybody wants to bring their crew with them, and if he wants to bring his barber along with them and get him a credit, I mean, that means something in Hollywood. You know, whose hair you cut and for what show you do it for. If you were to accidentally say something on screen, you automatically get to have one of them SAG cards because you said something and they left it in the cut, you know. So every single credit you get is a step up in Hollywood.
Well, see, the reason I say that, now this is just my opinion, the barber who cut his hair, I don't believe he's deserving of a credit. Now,
Bro,
this is why I say,
can we not do this Ray Fisher barber?
No.
Right? That's not the topic.
I'm not trying to make it about
why
that.
You brought it up. It's cool. Let's continue. Someone asked Rosales, who was he's catching up on the live stream. Wrong comment. He was like, "Did you just bring up Mel Gibson? Like, what are you trying to say right now? Explain that." He says here, I'm watching it on 2 times because I'm trying to catch up. But did this white man on here just compare Mel Gibson racist, anti-Semitic rants to this? I understand what you meant when you were trying to say. You were trying to say that every time Mel Gibson tries to do something forward, they will always look in his past to get something out of it. That's what you meant. That was your point.
I want to know where the white man is.
that too.
So to what Mike was talking about, right? I think what we're talking about is all the 40 supposedly allegations that they said they had, right, Mike? And I was saying, you don't know. Some people could just hold something against you, right? But because you yelled at them. And it's like, oh, he abused me. You know, everybody takes things differently. So I may yell at Chill and he's like, whatever. But I may yell at K-Dot and K-Dot be like, oh, I can't believe he said that to me. He's abusing me. I don't need to take this. And then 10 years down the line, someone does an article, say, hey, give me some information about Anzo. And K-Dot's like that. Yeah, I remember that one time he abused me and called me all kinds of names and stuff like that. So my problem with that is like,
I'd only do that if they paid me, Anzo. Just make that clear. They have to pay me in order to get that information.
Right. Maybe they did pay some of these people too, right? We don't even know that.
Maybe
That's
they
a
did, but
possibility
whatever it
too.
is, on August 3rd, that's the deadline for all of this. Because when that trial happens and none of these people, anonymous or not, become known and come out and speak on him, that's it. There's actually like a few weeks left that they have, 5 weeks until they can. Someone got a message. There's 5 weeks, and then it's over. So they know that it's an issue of time, and they've got to go hard on him. And all of this going into the past with 40 people has nothing to do with we saw her at the club getting down and not having an injured finger. Marcus from the back of the bus has joined us.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
What up?
So did you read the Rolling Stones complete article, or do you want to even comment on why they posted it the way that they posted it, the time they posted it?
So I mean the timing, I think you were pretty spot on about why they did it that way. Sorry about the camera. I'm going to turn on here in a second. I'm trying to catch
No,
up.
we like it better this way, actually.
uh
No, look, when I called it out, and I've been getting a lot of tweets saying this is a PR thing, that's why they got ahead of the news. Do you think that Rolling Stone took 3 months and all that hard work? They tried really hard to get this information. You
to
think they
give
just
us
posted
anonymous sources and a lot
but
of
what they're
hearsay.
trying to say is that the timing isn't like they rushed it. And I'm trying to say to them in the tweets that I would tweet and reply back to these people, some of them have their replies off, but I would try to say to them that if Rolling Stone really worked hard in 3 months on this, and yeah, it wasn't a forced, rather it wasn't a rushed production. I'm saying that the release of it at the time it was, which was like late 10 p.m. Eastern on a Thursday night, that's not when you post something like this. You go on a Monday, on a Tuesday, you do it at an hour where people on the East Coast and the West Coast are awake. The people in London, England, where she's currently at right now, people could read it at a reasonable time, and they'll all give that the media attention that it gets internationally. That's when you release things.
Yeah,
I'm sure
especially when you spent supposedly 3 months on it doing investigative journalism, right? Like if you put that much time and resources into a story like that, 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, you know,
and then right after all the information that has come out kind of makes Jonathan Majors look innocent. You know what I mean? It's so suspect.
Well, so
like
a lot of people took the Newsmax article and everything the lawyer was presenting, you know, kind of giving their evidence
Newsweek
as trying to spin the narrative, right? Trying to play in the court of public opinion. So then if that's if that's the logic that we're going with, then what are these anonymous sources that seemingly always pop up when there is doubt on the alleged abuse victim? You know, something about her story has been recanted or changed, or her credibility is starting to dwindle, and then all of a sudden, oh, there are cooperating witnesses. Oh, there are, you know, we've talked to 40 people, we combed through it. He's, you know, emotionally and sometimes physically abusive. He, you know, we got 2 of his ex-girlfriends. One of them he abused emotionally, which without giving me a detailed account from the person, I don't know how I'm supposed to quantify that. And then we have one alleged physical abuse victim who didn't even give that account themselves. It was a secondhand story. So that is what 3 months of research got us from Rolling Stone, supposedly, right?
And here's a question. What are the chances that you talk to 40 people and all 40 people don't want to be named? You don't have one person in there that said, you know what? Say my name because it happened. You know what I mean?
It's Jonathan Knight. Jonathan Suge Knight, for sure.
Hold on. I do have questions, though. I have questions because I'm curious. And I know Anzo said about, you know, the Me Too movement, which is like believe all women and all that stuff. And I disagree with that a lot. But I think women should be listened to, and then you should do the investigation and then determine whether it was true or not. It shouldn't just be, you know, whatever they say. As with anybody, I mean, if there's an accusation, it has to be investigated and then proven, and then, you know, you take it from there. But what out of everybody, and I brought this up again with Marvel seems to be the one that's holding out. They haven't done anything yet. Why did his management and his PR firm, why did they like if the proof is there, and I'm not doubting it, because there hasn't been it. They haven't shown other than the text, the video, and all that, the stuff like that. Allegedly, that's been shown, and the charges, I guess, there have been.
The answer to your question is that this PR firm is filled with people who have got a bias, who don't want it to believe Jonathan Majors, and it's not because they have proof or evidence that exists that they have, because there's nothing that exists that can exist to disprove the evidence that this woman, unless she has a twin sister, but there's nothing that can be proven that this woman is okay. And I mean, rather, I should say, is truthful, I should say.
And here's the thing that I think too. I think the writer's strike had a lot to do with Marvel not getting rid of him right away, right? Because they can't do nothing. And they have their whole phase 5 dedicated to Jonathan Majors. So it's like, since we can't do anything, we can't write anything, let's wait it out and see what happened. I believe if that writer's strike didn't happen, they would have probably jumped the gun too and moved forward, because they would have had to get their movies out. And you can't wait for Jonathan Majors' court date for how many months now, right? You got to start writing, you got to start producing and, filming and stuff like that. So I think this writer's strike really helped Marvel say, let's wait and see what happens.
So I think a lot of times when we talk about these kind of events where companies have to kind of wade through the water of some murky situations, I think it's a very human thing to assume that since they make so much money and that there's so much process and departments and executives, and it looks very organized, and we just naturally assume that there are competent people making these decisions, right? Look at the inconsistency of how they have handled these type of situations. So let's start with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has an erroneous assault claim made by his ex-wife in an op-ed, right? Ends up suing her. A bunch of evidence comes out. She come out looking like a dastardly liar, and ends up being one of the more toxic individuals at the moment in Hollywood. And you preemptively fired the cornerstone to one of your most successful franchises. Right? So cool. So now we're on Johnny Depp. We could talk about Tanakh, and I don't know his name. I need to stop calling him Kamala Khan's dad. But that's what he is right now in my mind.
Say it again, K-Dot.
Mohan Kapoor.
Here we go. Mohan Kapoor, whose allegations have seemed to have been buried under a rock somewhere, and his are infinitely worse than any of these individuals that we're talking about.
So
right?
For that,
Marcus, wait. I'm glad you.
I think there's a class thing. If he was in a position of prominence, if he was like a main star, he's like third, fourth, supporting whatever. I mean, if it was better, and if it was more scandalous, I mean, nobody, like, you couldn't even remember his name, so people don't care about him. But
so I agree with
the sexy
you.
one, I mean,
I agree with you, but listen to what that implies, though, right? If he's hired on the call sheet, then maybe we would have to do something. But since we can hide him, it's acceptable for him to have erroneous sexual assault charges.
Right? He also wasn't arrested.
It won't sell copies. That's all.
But he wasn't arrested, though. The thing that Jonathan Majors got arrested, people who have faith in the police system thought that was enough. Well, I mean, I can react to this. He was arrested for a charge. Even though Majors dialed 911, which I have to say every single time, even though he was the one who brought them over to the crib, it was enough for people to go, oh, well, he got arrested. So, where there's smoke, there's fire. And then everything that they've been told from their parents about who you should and shouldn't be dating and relationships that are okay and not okay. And that all works in favor to where these biases are created, whether they want to admit it or not. And then we get our favorite YouTubers.
I think you're right about that. I think the arrest is the bar for a lot of people. I think a lot of people say innocent until proven guilty, but they don't mean it. They don't live by that. They don't uphold that standard. Let's go to another one. We talked about a lot of men. Tiffany Haddish also had a scandal where she had a comedy skit that she did. Aries Spears, right? Whole scandal where she's teaching a young girl how to do fellatio, and then moves on to her little brother, and they're doing some kind of scandalous skit where Aries Spears is touching a child, right? Guess who's headlining Haunted Mansion with Lakeith Stanfield and Owen Wilson and Danny DeVito? right there.
Rosario Dawson?
A little over. No. You'll see it down on the cast. Yeah, she's right there. She's in the trailers, right? I'm sure she'll probably be maybe 5th or 6th on the credit listing, right? And no shame whatsoever.
And they filmed this after they didn't. They had a chance to recast, but they filmed this after the news came out.
So my point to it is, if you are going to project your virtue and your morals, it really shouldn't matter, right? You don't get to pick and choose when you have fiduciary responsibility. You're supposed to have money-making responsibility all the time. But if you're going to signal to everyone that we live by our morals, we are a moral company, and that is why we engage in the things we do. That's why we fight our governor. That's why we do all of these things, right? But then if it doesn't suit you, it's time to make money, guys.
So we got B Smith, who says, "Greetings all." Look at the way he looks at us in the camera. Look at this. He goes
intense. What? And that's
one more thing, Kid. Kimoyo Kid says, as a black man, Anthony Mackie's supposed to denounce majors to curry favor with the establishment. I want to read. Actually, go ahead, Kid. Say your part.
Real quick, he's a scroll. That's why he's a good scroll. That shows
serious. Y'all, Second Street Marvel says, y'all realize if they want to make an arrest, they can issue a warrant. Along with that, they can extradite you. Now, what the hell does extradite mean?
You get sent to the United States
for you.
He's in a country of extradition. But then again, she is the crux of their case, right? The minute they extradite her back from Britain,
yeah.
What case then do you have against Majors if he's
it's not enough though?
It's violence,
and I don't think getting scratched on is enough to extradite you. Like a murder, like
exactly.
More serious ones, they'll do that. I think.
Well, I know nothing. Let me also clear up this information. The thing with Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish happened in September of 2022, and principal photography began on the Haunted Mansion mid-October 2021. To late February 2022, so it was done filming.
They didn't have time. The thing is, though, with her admitting and putting out an apology for it. No, let's not touch that. I don't know.
We don't know what kind of role she plays in the movie either. But then, so if we end up seeing Haunted Mansion and Tiffany Haddish's role in that movie is what we expected to be, slapstick, comedic relief. Is that so consequential to that movie that it had to stay if you are who you say you are? Right? I'm just kind of tired of the roller coaster of morality that is the Walt Disney Company. Right. Are you virtuous people who do things for the greater good, or are you trying to make a buck? You need to choose a lane, because trying to do both right now is got you all topsy-turvy.
Nerd Mafia, I'll send you a link if you want to talk about this, because I do feel we have enough for the full picture. Dot?
And I'm glad Mark has brought this up, because the thing with Mohan and Tanoch. I know when they got their allegations, it wasn't at the time when their big films came out, and there's different levels to them as an actor, but that's besides the point. Also, let's make this clear. They're all all three of them are considered people of color. That's what we're labeled as. That's what they label us, people of color. So let's make that clear.
Except Rosales, he's white.
What bother? Well, us too. But what bothers me?
I've been white since '63.
What bothers me the most, and it's just this people that want to try to bring their morals into it, and at this moment, everyone has this. A lot of people have this stance that once the allegations hit, you're immediately guilty. They think Jonathan Majors is guilty. So Mohan Kapoor, who has even worse allegations, mind you, if they all are guilty, freak all of them. But everyone should keep the same energy, the same pressure you're putting on Jonathan Majors. Do that with Mohan and Doge. I don't care. I don't care who they are. They have allegations of doing something very bad and heinous. Keep the same pressure with all of them, because if you pick and choose, I talked about this on stream yesterday. Let's say for example, there are two pedophiles, right? One of them is my favorite actor, and the other one is an actor I hate, right? One is an actor I love, the other one is someone I hate. Now there's a lot of people, for the one they like, they'll be willing to not talk about as much as the other one, but they're both bad people. There's no reason to defend them or have a bias with these two people. They are both bad people, keep the same pressure on both of them. Stop picking and choosing. This whole trying to get on this more high ground and stuff.
Cool.
Like,
I want to
was
show
the most
something.
successful two pedophiles walk into a bar joke I've ever heard. So congratulations, that was.
I had an issue yesterday where my tweets were locked, and for the second time, it's happened again when they go. There's some unusual activity on my account. This didn't happen to me before I started talking about the Rolling Stones. Am I insinuating that there's somebody who has a way to get into people's, oh, this chillmonger's hurting us. Let's go back in time.
Isn't it so funny that they can do op-eds on guys like Jonathan Majors and talk to all the people in their past and try to get characterizations of them, but then their namesake, the Rolling Stones, have y'all ever seen a piece like that on the Rolling Stones? I've never seen one. Or any various celebrities in Hollywood that have curried the favor of the trades.
They used to write about music.
Bro, why are you guys taking this news that I'm presenting to everybody that my account has been locked?
Well,
and making
also,
the point of the matter is that there's some suspicious activities going on lately since I've been covering Jonathan Majors. There's people trying to look for the chillmonger insights.
Chill, they've been watching your videos, man. They see you sticking up for Jonathan. They're like, why is he sticking up for Jonathan?
And
have a hit
who's doing
for
this?
you?
Who's doing it? Because it
Rolling
never
Stone
happened.
is working on their.
Until I started replying to the tweets underneath that person, it never happened. Well, am I pointing a finger at that specific person who wrote the article? Am I? The result is like, yeah, you are.
Maybe it's a coincidence, Chill.
It's anonymity. A source close to the matter says this. I have to believe.
Maybe it's a coincidence, Chill. Just like this article coming out is not a coincidence. You know what I mean? Oh, all of a sudden now you're getting locked out of your accounts. Never happened to you. How long you been on Twitter?
Yeah, since 4 years, since 2019.
And all of a sudden now it's happening.
Well, Chill. I don't want to. I'm always down for a good conspiracy and all that, and I don't want you to think any different of that van that's parked outside your house. But Elon Musk made an announcement that he's limiting things. Like if you scroll through a certain amount of, like there was something about data scraping or something like that, and if you scroll like past a certain amount of tweets or something, then they will not show you anymore or something like that.
Yeah, that's not the case. I wasn't doing anything but going to Nerd Mafia to send him a link to this, which is exactly what I did earlier to Blue's house. So there's none of that.
Well, see, Chill, I get those. I haven't got those as a recent, but like I get one of those. You need to unlock your account if you want to keep tweeting and all that. And mind you, I tweet way more than you, but I think I think I don't think you're wrong, because when you tweet under certain stuff and you say things, like even if you're not saying nothing super heinous or crazy, they will specifically snuff out those comments and stuff. And it's you was saying some stuff that was combating against what Rolling Stone was saying. So,
but as I read,
I'm not saying you're correct. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I wouldn't be shocked if
But as I read his tweets, he's not really saying anything that violates the terms and conditions of Twitter. So you know what I mean?
It's not a terms of violation. Twitter's looking out for me. They're telling me my thing has been locked, and there's a way I can reactivate it. I just have to hit start, and then I'll pass the RCOC challenge, whatever that is. That's what I did last time. It like buffering for like 10 seconds, and I was good, right? But look, we found some unusual activity on your account. All that means is somebody tried to log in from Southern California or something. To make sure Twitter is safe for everyone, we need you to confirm your identity before you continue using Twitter. And I'm not going to do that yet.
Did they show you the location that the account was trying to be accessed from?
Yeah, they don't show. Every time I get these, they don't show you.
Not this time.
I don't think it's that was.
Not this time. One time something like that happened, and it said like, well, I probably shouldn't say because they're watching, but no, whatever. In Durham, North Carolina, I got that like 3 weeks ago.
Chill, if you scrolling through Instagram, right, and they do something like that, they actually show you the location of where the person tried to log in at.
Sure.
Twitter, that's why I don't even think it's related to a location issue of someone trying to log in. I think that's something else. Because they never
show
show
the headquarters of Rolling Stones is at, because maybe they tried to log in.
It's in Durham, North Carolina.
Well, I mean, that was 3 weeks ago. That one was 3 weeks ago. Ever since and I got a suspicion of who it was, and I'll tell you guys after, but I'm kind of okay. But I'm suspicious, and I'm nothing. All right, let's go back to the topic. Everyone's writing in, and I got to catch up on some of these live chats. Ever since the OJ case led to the creation of Fox News, organizations realized that attacking famous black men is a billion-dollar business. I got accused of SA. What's that?
Section.
You think
Sexual
about it.
assault.
At work for telling a younger female coworker to stop touching me.
Dude, they do that a lot.
All the fake hit pieces on Depp as Heard was losing the case. These stories are preloaded garbage. Rolling Stone drops to confuse the narrative. Yeah, they do. They do drop them for those reasons. Research and verify. I'm not one to defend Ray Fisher. He wrote that a long while ago. Let's speed up to like the current comments. He says that it does not serve the DA to extradite Stephanie. Yeah, we don't call her by her name. We call her Stephanie here.
It doesn't.
What? It doesn't matter?
No, I'm saying it doesn't serve him to do it. He brings her back for questioning. They have probable cause for an arrest. They already had it. They printed what was the little complicated thing, the iCard or some shit, to bring her in for questioning. Like that is the type of stuff that really gets to me. Because like when it's majors and like, oh look, it's a publicity stunt with him and Megan Good. It's like, okay, probably, but I mean, he has to win. He has to win the court of public opinion, right? Because on the other side, they're digging up dirt from his past to make him seem like he committed this crime.
And that's going to affect it. It's going to affect his screen time in Kang Dynasty.
Right.
It's not going to be 60 minutes dedicated to him. It's going to be like 45 now.
But what happened to him and Megan Good?
Well, no, he's dating Megan Good, but you were saying really? It could be, yeah. But I think,
what's your reaction? No, cool. Hold on, Anzo. What's your immediate reaction to this news that he scraped the land and he got the hottest unrestricted free agent that was available, Megan Good, out of the 50,000,
fresh on the waiver wire. Her divorce is still warm.
So,
props.
What I was saying is, it was Megan Good that texted him in the car that she.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
That's what it is. Like,
because they are conveniently together after this situation.
Picture this for a second, right? You're a mid-level producer or something like that, the VFX person on Marvel production. You landed the hottest star in the entire company, right? Mm-hmm. And y'all are in some sort of relationship together. So much that you have his house keys and his credit card. So that was a serious relationship, right? Okay. So then, boom, you see that he's been talking to Megan Good. Would you not absolutely lose your shit?
I'd be
not only for the infidelity, right? But also for the damn. I was this way now. Like
So,
that is an absolutely devastating prospect.
So are you defending? Are you saying it's justified, Mark?
No. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm just saying I can put together the mental space. Right. I can see where she goes crazy and tries to hit him or is in a fight with him trying to get out of the car. Like, I'm not trying to deal with this right now. I gotta go. He tries to get out of the car and now there's a scrum. Where are you going? No, we're gonna talk about this. Come here. Like I can see that. Absolutely.
Why is Megan Good texting you? Tell me, why do you have these texts from Megan Good? What else have you been talking to her about?
Megan Good? Excuse me?
And I'm not sure if y'all seen the narrative that some people are trying to paint, how they're using Megan Good as a PR stunt, and they want black women to come clean up the issues of black men, blah blah blah. And in this situation, Megan, what she's doing now has no benefit if she's already dating Jonathan. All these allegations happening, because there's no benefit for her. Because if Jonathan is guilty, that hurts her career. Because people gonna be all like, "Oh, why are you sleeping with abusers, Megan?" Blah blah blah. It's gonna hurt her career.
Does it hurt her career? Because I didn't know who she was before this happened.
I do not believe you. I don't believe you at all. I don't know who Megan Good is. Does she sing songs or something, or what? I don't. Is she an actress?
She's an actress.
I don't know.
She's no huge star.
There's people. There's people out there right now who don't know who Megan Good is. One of them is me, and now they do. Now as long as my wife isn't looking, I'll look her up on the internet.
When Darla in Shazam turns into a superhero, she turns into Megan Good.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that.
You know? Oh,
Megan Good was
now I
looking
know
good up
who
in that
Megan
suit.
Good
She
is.
was. Y'all can't take that away from her. She was looking solid in that suit.
If Jonathan Majors even comes out as not guilty, right? We still know that there's a segment of people who are going to treat him as if he was.
For sure.
So it's there's no automatic positive for her. Even if she nets more followers or more exposure from the case, she still has the negative draw by the association.
And you know who Megan Good is?
Who?
What's that?
Do you know who Megan Good is?
Me?
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I know who Megan Good is. I've been following Megan Good since Friday.
Facts. And you know what's funny too, right?
Yeah.
I seen an article where it was like, oh, Megan Good's friends approve of her situation with Jonathan Majors. I'm like, why? Like, who
Good for
cares?
them.
They're their fucking friends. Like, why you so? Even if they didn't approve, who cares? You know what I mean? That's not her. It's not their life.
The most embarrassing thing I heard around it, it was on the Breakfast Club, and her ex, Devon Franklin. You know, he's a director. He was on there talking about he did a movie with Disney, I believe, that the story about how they made hot Cheetos. And so he was pubbing that, and then I don't remember who it was, but somebody interjected and was like, "So yeah, what do you think about your ex-wife with Jonathan Majors?" And I'm like, "Yo, what do that got to do with him?
Charlemagne.
What does that have to do with him? Why is Jonathan Majors coming up in a press run for the hot Cheeto movie?
It's radio, baby."
Jeez, I was like, right, but he was really graceful. He took it. He was like, you know what? She's happy, so I'm happy for her, and she's in a good place, so that's good. I was like, hey, yo, he is 100 times a better man than I am. Like 100 times over a better man than I am.
And see, Marcus, the whole thing with Megan Good, and you also make a very good point about this, because we saw, Chloe Bailey. She's, kind of a rising star right now. And on a recent album, she did a collaboration with Chris Brown, right? Now, mind you, not saying she condones what Chris Brown did, but just for trying to do a song with Chris Brown, she got slandered and attacked, and her album was in it hurt her album sales, because a lot of women that support her was like, why are you doing a song with Chris Brown? Doesn't mean she condones what he did, but just for the association itself.
Is Chris Brown still log off like that? I thought he like didn't have that problem anymore. At least women I know.
Oh, he still does. I mean, he doesn't.
He still got that problem.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not
now. Anytime you see him in some sort of combative situation with someone of the opposite sex, it's not even with women anymore. Now, it's spun into other various relationships that he's had in the industry. That is what the prospect is when you're accused of this, right? Like, it's going to stay there whether you did it or not to a certain segment of people.
Blind Daily says, I just came across your channel. You've been 100% vindicated on all your videos. See, the thing with me is I waited, and then when I saw that she went to the club right after, I'm like, oh, there's no way someone goes to the club afterwards to see her using her hands and all that stuff. Jaded Fanboy's in the building. I want to know your take on the Rolling Stone article.
Don't care. Didn't read it. Have no interest. Are we still talking about this guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just joined to be like, I don't care. What did you say, Marcus?
That's why I have
This man is the future of Marvel Studios, Dated. We must talk about the future.
Oh God.
Jaded obviously didn't see the title of the stream before he popped in here, right?
No, I didn't. I just saw crap. I realized what time it was, and I said, "Oh shit, good one." And then it's like,
Jaded just wanted to come in here and slander Secret Invasion.
If
I would have been joining him in it, even though I didn't watch it, I would have been supporting him.
If you're like Daily down here and you're just like, oh, who's this Chillmonger guy? Because there's new people who don't really watch me. On Saturdays, usually at this time hour, I'd invite basically the same panel of people who are here now, but we would talk about the latest, hit thing that happened. We've done like Super Mario streams, and we've streamed about one time it was like a Black Panther only stream. We've done Marvel, Star Wars, but now we're doing.
We used to do 33 burning questions, but that seems to not happen as much anymore.
Because it's hard writing 33 questions.
They got to make some content for us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
33 burning questions about Jonathan Majors. I think Joe Monka can come up with those.
Didn't I do that one time? Like a month ago?
I think
Didn't I
you
do that?
Yeah.
Blues House is in the building. And his YouTube channel is Blue's House, and he was in here commenting. Now he's got the link. Let's talk. You saw the Rolling Stone article Thursday night, right? And what did you think about this headline? What did you think about the timing of when it came out? Considering that we just had 2 straight days of there's a fugitive on the loose who's about to be arrested, and she's not arrested, and then all of a sudden they hit you with this, and people are taking the bit. Okay, what is your reaction, Blues?
I mean, it's the same reaction that you had. Of course, it's a hit piece. Everything in there is a hit piece. You got 40 anonymous people. Nobody wants to stand on their names. Things of that. Like, who goes interviews 40 people and not one of them said, all right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was me. He beat the shit out of me, or he verbally abused me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to stand on it. That's one thing that I don't understand, especially when it comes to these hit pieces. Don't go and get 40 anonymous people. Go and get some real live, actual evidence. If you're going to do a hit piece, do a hit piece. You know what I'm saying? Stand on it. That's really how I look at it. And then you come out, I think it was like Thursday afternoon or something. You know what I'm saying? Who does that on a Thursday? You can't even really go into the weekend controlling a news cycle on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Something's going to happen Friday. Something's going to happen over the weekend. You want to do it on a Monday, Tuesday. Control the news cycle for the week. I don't get it. It is what it is, though.
I second that motion.
It is what it is. The jaded fanboy to give White House press briefings. It would be epic.
Jaded's like, nothing is happening. Go home, everybody.
Why don't you care, though? Why don't you care so much about this? Because it's been ongoing, and I don't know. I'm passionate about it.
Because I listened to you, I saw your videos, and it's blatantly obvious he's innocent, and it's just I don't want to call it rabble rousing, but again, it's just let's beat a dead horse to see how long we can until the trial eventually happens, so that we can officially establish that he's not guilty of all charges. So that way, and then once that happens, they're just going to go, okay, what else can we pretend to care about? So yeah, I'm sorry.
I value the precedent that is set when we live through this experience of like 6 months from March 25 to August 3rd. When we live through all those months, and we're gonna have people who are gonna in the future be accused of the same thing, or even cops who arrest people who don't deserve to be arrested, and we'll always be able to say, but hey, remember Majors, and remember Johnny Depp, and remember some of these other like false things. This sets an important precedent, and I want to be the guy who doesn't participate in the throwing mud on Jonathan Majors, and then be one of those freaking people who are gonna be like months later, man, Jonathan Majors really needs to climb his way out of this mess. And I'm gonna be like, you media, you guys are the ones who made him in this mess.
You could have created more
response. You're the one that created this false narrative that there should have been in question in the first place. And then it's like you create the question, and then you go, gee, how do we answer it? So that way they got their own cannon fodder for the next couple of months.
Y'all just gave the business model away. Let's create the narrative that leads us to the next narrative, and then we can talk about that for another 3.5 months and keep these eyeballs attached. This is a hot button.
And then
what are they distracting from? That's the good question, because a lot of effort, is being put into keeping Majors in the spotlight and underpin and protecting this woman, whatever her name happens to be.
Becky.
There's probably a reason why it's happening on this level. If it's not because of the dreaded racism, it must be because this is a distraction from something else that is going on. And right now, if we're focused on Majors, we don't know what the real issue is that they're trying to distract us from. And I don't even have a suggestion as to what it is.
I think this is systemic, like covering up has to do with racism. It has to do with a lot of things. Like, for one, when cops arrest somebody, they don't want cops arresting someone to be a bad thing or something that is not considered a 100% admission of fault, and cops can arrest people by accident. They don't want that to be the case, so they got to protect the cops, right? Which threw that out the window because some of these investigators contradicted and undercut what the cops said. So that's already done. So that's taken care of. So from that level, protecting the cops' credibility is one thing. Protecting the DA's credibility is another thing, because you don't want the district attorney to be in doubt ever. Don't they elect for district? They run for office in America, yeah, and so every county has. Right. So that's not a good look. So it's political. Then there's just if you put on my hat and the hat that Anzo was wearing right now, a black man was just with a white woman, and he cannot be awarded. He needs to be shamed. He needs to be put down because you don't have access to that one. That's your fault. And then there's also the fact that there's an actor right now who's 33 who's about to be a megastar in Hollywood. He's got dark skin. So there's going to be a lot of popular dark skin characters that he's going to play. Not Kang, because that's a white character. And I would like for him to play black characters that may have the potential to be the next Indiana Jones. And not the new Indiana Jones, the old Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but there's a lot of dismissal going into your theory. I mean, it's just straight up dismissal. They did it because they're white and he's black. Okay, that's a dismissal of any of the procedures that the police are going through. Secondly, the black police chief, the black DA, you dismissed them in the systemic racism simply because, well, you know, and I'm not going to say it, but you know, they're on the farm or whatever it is. You know, they are part of the problem because they are whitewashed. You know, and that's a way of dismissing who they are as people, and basically using racism against them. So I mean, the thing is that I think there's probably. Please go ahead.
Can I try to? What I would like to. So you're right in what you're saying in terms of just boiling it down overall to race is a little dismissive to the allegation, and it's dismissive to the process. We don't need to do that to show that it's racism. We could start at the initial investigation, where the investigation started, when the cops.
That's all you need to talk about.
And they asked the woman 19 times what happened to her, and somehow they come out of that with the strangulation charge and the assault charge.
That's all we need to talk about.
That's where the racism plays. We can talk about how he told them that he was assaulted, and there were no mutual. They didn't both go to jail. He went to jail. We know that he took this information to another precinct and they saw sufficient evidence for an arrest. There's inconsistency here. Right. And the only thing that I can come to, maybe I'm dim-witted, but the only thing that I can come to here is that there were 6 cops in this man's apartment that were so in awe that it was his apartment, and then all of a sudden we end up with him under arrest.
Not to mention,
I don't think you're dim-witted. I mean, just look at the comments. Everybody knows it's me who's dim-witted.
No.
I'm the one who don't get it.
That wasn't directed at you. I'm just saying in general.
I'm just saying,
it seems very plain to me, given what they've laid out, the evidence, right? The stuff that is related to this case, that something didn't make sense here. Something doesn't add up. At very least, they should both go to jail until you figure it out.
Not to mention the fact that the strangulation charge got taken off, gone.
Right. And I want to add in that a police chief and the DA has nothing to do with police arresting people. Police can arrest who they want to without interaction from a police chief or a DA. DA is just prosecuting you.
I agree with that. I just think that they are backing them up for some reason, and that's the reason I want.
Well, if I'm the DA and I have a high-profile case, yes, I'm gonna stick with it. It's a high-profile case. I need my next election. I need to win DA next year or whenever. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. If I'm running for mayor next.
Why would you take it this far then? Like, if he initially gets arrested, they deliberated over a few weeks, and then the charges are dropped. By now, July.
What did that DA run on? See, if that DA ran on, if he became DA due to him running on crime or something like, you know what I'm saying, being real punishable, real heavy on crime, and one of the big cases was a domestic violence case, and that's what got him over the hump.
He ran on Donald Trump.
So there you go. He ran on Donald Trump.
Okay, hold on. To play a devil's advocate, is this a high-profile case because Jonathan Majors is black, or is this a high-profile case because Jonathan Majors is
so then we're proving what was out.
It's definitely both.
No, but hold on. Look. In the case of the DA, it's high-profile case, like what Blues just told us.
Right.
Rosales is correct, or he's at least. It's not about race specifically here. It's just that it's high-profile. If this was Tom Cruise, we'd have had the same thing happen just because of that. I go to race when I'm talking about the cops who showed up, and I think that's
right. That's what I'm agreeing with you with. The racism is the cops part. The DA and the police chief don't have to involve themselves in racism because now police chief got to get voted in also. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and see,
High profile. When if I can get if this case is getting all the eyeballs that it's getting, I ran that I'm hard on crime. I'm police chief again. I'm DA again, or I'm going on to be the mayor of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I ran on that, the racism, it's always the lower people that really touch on the racist parts. You see what I'm saying? The other, they uphold it, but the people on the ground level, they're the ones who implement racist procedures. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones who implement, whether it's police, whether it's military, whether it's teachers, whether it's whatever, doctors. It's always the lower level people who implement the racist thing. That's just how it is.
YouTuber aggressively relaxing says DA police chief set the tone. They're very much responsible for this type of, in my opinion, obviously racist arrest. And I think we I mean, maybe we don't all agree. I'll ask Rosales in a second. The arrest itself, they had some sort of racial bias when the cops came. The rest from the police officers there, I think I'm counting it as some sort of, oh yeah, black, white, and we know what to do here. Do you think that at least, or do you on where's your opinion?
I don't think they acted in good faith, to be honest.
No, I'm
The
asking if it was
police that
racist
were
or
there
not.
on the door. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Okay.
if you're doing racist things, and you're talking racist to a black man, questioning how he can afford something, and you're
Right.
actively trying to get him to react to the things that you're saying, that's definitely in bad faith, and it definitely crosses racial lines when it comes to trying to enforce the law,
And
and
when
that's
you're
wrong.
NYPD, I don't even need you to say anything. I know what time it is. I know who you guys are. I know your history of stop and frisk, and I know, well, not just that, but just like freaking when someone has a phone and they're just recording some nonsense that you guys are doing. You guys are not for the community of people Jonathan Major stems from.
That's similar to what they're trying to convince us with Jonathan Major's history, right? They're bringing up his exes and anybody who has something bad to say about him to establish a pattern of behavior. If anybody has a pattern of behavior, it's the NYPD.
Dead or alive, Jonathan. Oh, go ahead, Blues.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, and I know earlier somebody said that about police knowing, police know about the celebrities that they're, you know what I'm saying, that they make calls to in the neighborhoods that they go to. And I don't know if y'all remember, I'm old school, so like in the 90s, the NYPD made a department, the hip hop police, to where they go and, you know what I'm saying? So they have certain things that they go and actually look for. The police go and look, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to celebrities, rappers, artists, things of that nature. They know who these people are, just in case something like this has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They know. Jonathan Majors was an up and coming rising star. I can't remember what that neighborhood is. I think, was that Chelsea?
Yeah.
Chelsea. That's a come on. That's an affluent neighborhood. You think those police didn't know that Jonathan Majors lived in Chelsea? That precinct, whatever that precinct was, all the
they knew
celebrities.
exactly who he was, and I think the things that they said were incendiary and wrong. I think they were like I keep saying they acted in bad faith. I don't think this is a good collar one way or the other. I don't think it's a good prosecution one way or the other. I think it's going to blow up in everybody's faces. But it's quite possible that they were trying to avoid a Jussie Smollett kind of situation where there could have been something. It's like we're not going to fall for it again, kind of thing. They ran against, the DA ran against Trump. That was the thing. I'm going to get Trump. Let's get Trump. So obviously there is a focus on progressive things rather than conservative things in New York. I understand where Chillmonger's coming from. I remember the shotgun squads back in the day. I remember how things were really bad. Shoot first, ask questions later. That's the way New York was. That's the way.
Dead man tell no tale.
That's right. That the stop and frisk was all they needed to rough somebody up if they felt like it. And a lot of those cops were not on the right side. They weren't acting in good faith. They were shaking people down for money because they knew who the criminals were, and they knew when they got their drop-off money, and they shook them down and they took the money. And if somebody said anything about it, guess what? They were resisting arrest. And something happened in lockdown. Don't know what happened, but now he's dead, and that's just another criminal operation. So it's horrible. It's
Sandra Bland. That's all I got to say.
Sandra Bland. She was somebody who they took a screenshot. I'm not a screenshot. A mugshot of her, and you know that her eyes were loopy, and you know that she was not a responsive, alive person during that mugshot. It's why? Because while she was in custody, she died.
Right. And see, and the thing with the, and I think at this point with the DA, and I do agree with a lot of people at this point is leaning more toward Jonathan being innocent, right? And the DA, I know they're hoping to be DA again at some point, but to ride it out this long with no evidence and continue this without any good evidence,
should have cut
this, if Jonathan is innocent, which I believe he is, this DA, I don't know what they're doing, but I think just like with the situation with Jussie Smollett, he knew he was lying, but he got to a point where it's like, yeah, I need to ride this all the way to the end. I need to drag this lie out because I'm already in it. I might as well ride it to the end and let the wheels, fall off the car and just enjoy the crash, right? Might as well. So I think that's the same thing with this DA. They're at a point where like, dang, we can't really back out because it's like we already.
But it's not just not backing out, right? It's also, well, if we can't win, we can at least damage him a little bit, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be people out there who will always say he did it.
Right. I won't even say that though. K-Dot, think about this. I'm gonna ride it out until I make him plea. Because what if they don't even want to go to court? What if they don't want to go to court? What if they want him to plea out?
So they're going to wait till August 2nd?
Yeah. Well, think about it. If because I can win without going to court. If I keep pushing the court back, or if I keep coming up with all of this stuff, I can make him plea out and say, you know what? What do you have on the table so I could just walk away? Right? So I get to tarnish his name, and I get a win in the win column.
But they're subtracting charges, though. They're not adding. If they were adding charges, I say, yeah, that's probably trying to overwhelm me. But they're taking charges away.
Well, that's because they knew they couldn't prove that one. That strangulation charge, they could not. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did read where he said that he picked her up and put her back into the car because she had ran out into traffic.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably hinging their whole bet on that. Right. You see what I'm saying?
But even that is loose because we have an eyewitness testimony that he never hit her.
You talking about the chauffeur? You're talking about the unbiased?
If they wanted to,
from a third-party company, right? Not his driver, but a company driver that was assigned to him. So no reason to lie, no reason to think he's been paid or anything like that.
K-Dot.
But see, if they wanted to run with a new angle, right? I'm glad y'all brought it up. Let's say the girl wanted to run with a new angle. Oh, he abducted me, because technically they can say, I tried to get out the car, he forced me back into the car. She can flip it now and say, oh, he abducted me, right? Not saying what Jonathan did was wrong. He didn't want her to get.
But he did leave.
But they could use that as an angle if they wanted to. Not saying they will.
It's a stretch to go to kidnapping and false imprisonment, but I wouldn't put it past them if that's what they were trying to do. If they really, really, really wanted to string this out,
they're gonna have a hard.
I don't think they're going to do it, but they easily could if they wanted to.
He's seen going into a hotel, far away from her while she's at Lucy. She ends up back at his apartment. He gets there in the morning with the handyman. Like, you're going to have a hard time establishing
proving
when exactly these injuries happen or anything beyond what you've already said happened.
You got 9 hours of her in the club.
Do you know why?
Witnesses to that effect, like, it's not even, the thread is so loose.
Look, the reason why we know she went to Lucy's nightclub. Jaded fanboy, have you heard of why? The only reason we know where she was during this hour. Now, she could have lied and said, she was like walking home after he put the beats on her. She
ran that card up.
Tell Jaded fanboy, do you know why? Credit card. She used his credit card that he gave her.
Ran that card up.
So we know where she was. So we knew where to look to find some video of her at the club doing this. She had all the moves on the dance floor that you.
Criminal mind, the criminal mind. I swear to God.
Yeah. She didn't plan on telling the police about. She didn't plan on taking all those drugs that were gonna.
Goose, y'all. She lost the golden goose. This sounds like behavior of somebody who screwed the police. Like, damn, I had it and it left. Like I spazzed, I overreacted in the moment. Now I'm over here spending his money. And now I'm drunk and I want to be close to him. So I'm going to go to his apartment. Hopefully he'll be there. But now he's not there and I'm upset. So I'm going to lock myself in the closet.
How long ago did all this happen? When was the incident?
March 25.
March?
Yeah.
April, May, June. So So how long does it usually take for situations like this to be investigated? I mean, are they intentionally dragging this out, or
this is
I don't think
actually
they have much evidence, man. I don't think they have much.
the trial
don't
date happening on.
this point.
Let me answer, Mike. The trial date is August 3rd. They asked for a quick trial date. So this is actually considered fast. They had hearings like on May 9th. They had another hearing on June 20th to decide whether or not it'll go to trial. But yeah, for March 25 till August 3rd, it's considered fast. And we can anticipate that they're going to try to like delay the court date or prolong it and then reschedule it for later. And I just don't want that, considering his Marvel role, his job there,
right?
It's time sensitive. They don't want to be casting somebody who is.
So are they doing this intentionally? Are they dragging this out to? Because I mean, like the court of public opinion, like this is why one of the reasons. I mean, I know there's like due process and all that stuff, but like, I'm like, why didn't he drop all of the? Oh, you threw me off with that. I'm like, why didn't he drop?
I just want to look at the artwork, you know.
Why didn't he drop all like the videos?
Stop. Rogue Comics has a comic shop in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So if you want to shop, that's where you go. Yeah. So why didn't they drop all the videos and everything? Yeah. Proving it to public opinion is valueless. No matter what you say, when you post something, they'll look at those text messages and they'll tell you that, well, you see, we can find a reason why these alleged texts make him look bad. When the Rolling Stone reaches out, hey, we're going to post this thing. Do you decline to comment? And they go, no, we don't decline to comment. We'll just show you this. There's 6 women who can attest that Jonathan Majors is a stand-up guy. They'll go, well, of these 6 women, they didn't even approve of this news being revealed to us. They didn't even want you guys. They'll try whatever they can to delegitimize what you do.
But those aren't in 4K though. This video footage would be, unless they're going to say, oh, they you know, it's a variant.
AI.
Yeah. You know,
I think that they have to keep things close to themselves because they know that who the DA is and what the intention of the DA is. So withholding all of this stuff is better because you want the pow to happen in court and you want the surprise element and the overwhelmingness to take place where it matters most, and that's on August 3rd.
But see, but that's this is, and I'm listening to you guys talking about all this, and I know this has been done everywhere, and everybody has an opinion about it, and that's what's messed up because regardless of what happens, and I tend to believe more on the side of Jonathan Majors than this chick. He is going to be the victim in all of this because even if he is exonerated, like if it bleeds, it leads. He's on page 1 now, but the exoneration is going to be on like page 92 in the bottom left-hand corner in the smallest font possible. Like, and nobody's going to that same energy isn't going to be there when you were like, oh my God, hey, I can't believe he's guilty. He did this and all that stuff. And then when it comes out that he wasn't guilty, there's still going to be that taint that's still going to be there. And that's not fair. And that shouldn't be happening.
Well, to go by what Blue and K-Dot said before about dragging it out, I'm going, well, yeah, because it's getting the DA's name in the papers. So even, and then what Blue was saying, like they could end up doing a plea deal, you know, a week before, and then it's like, oh, okay, the actual trial is irrelevant to the DA. It's using Jonathan Majors' name to be able to go, oh, you guys want... Before Jonathan Majors, maybe the DA was getting 1 interview a month. Now that he's got the Jonathan Majors case, he's getting an interview every, 2-3 times a week.
Oh, that went to the top of his resume. Yeah, of course.
Right. So again, the trial itself may just be a smokescreen that the DA is using to just bolster his, recognition and his name.
The Blues right now, you got crazy background noise. I'm going to unmute you. And I still hear it. Is there?
I'm running back to the. Yeah, I'm going back to the car. I'm out here. My son playing Little League, man. I'm going back to the car.
Like, you're here and you're not watching your son play Little League for us?
Nah, they just ran the score up on this team, man. They done. They waiting on the next team, man. It's the Little League World Series, baby.
You already know his son winning. You gotta watch him. Right. You already won.
Now I don't feel bad about letting the kids play in the pool without me.
She is straight true villain in the real world.
Just a lousy dumb one.
William Moloch. Let me read his first one. He says here the harassment charge might stick. They could have evidence that he was messaging her angry text messages. Well, she messaged him 32 times.
That's also the biggest narrative with the text where people try to say, well, she people are trying to put that narrative that, you know, she could just be doing it because, oh, she's the victim and she's doing it out of fear, and a lot of victims will make it seem like it's their fault when it's the other person's fault.
Remember,
you know, trying to create that narrative. Not saying that's the case, but it could be the case. But we were trying to make that the case when we don't know if it is.
Khalif Browder was stuck in Rikers for 3 years with no evidence, saying he did anything and no court date. 3 years. I remember that. I hate that. I hate that story. That harassment charge, he says, especially when it obviously nothing happened. She is straight true villain. He could have done trying to protect her image as well, seeing as she wasn't the one pressing charges. She actually wasn't. She dropped it. Like, listen, police tried to make
DA. It's not even her anymore.
It's the DA right now.
It's not even necessary to like put her in the limelight. I'm glad you don't say her name, because number one, when you do that, it automatically kind of makes her a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
And so people will gravitate to that more than they will the evidence. And then also, she's already twice recanted her story. She said it in the
You make a really good point. And because the police don't need the person who was acted upon. Let's say she's the one who tried to file charges in the first place, or they wanted her to file charges and she dropped the charges and the whole 9 yards. They can continue without her. They don't need her there to do that. They don't need the victim in this case. But which makes it really kind of weird that Will Smith, they let him go. Well, no one's going to press charges, so we can't do anything. But no, you can. You got millions of witnesses that saw him walk up on stage and assault somebody.
Got the motivation.
If you touch a cop on the shoulder like this, that's considered assault. Will Smith slapped the shit out of that guy, and that's not assault. And we can't do anything. Oh, it's. I hate the way they play games like this with the legal system. I just hate it.
To be fair, the room full of Epstein flight list people can't arrest Will Smith for smacking somebody. I'm just saying.
Yo Clips joins. He says, yes, because if the city outright dismisses the case, they become liable for false imprisonment. Yeah, you got to protect the system and the effect that has on his wages. If they sign an agreement, they get out without getting sued. They are drumming up a case against the DA. That's why they give everything to the district attorney. Hey, look, this is what she did. Here's pictures of scratching me. No, okay, good. Bomb. We're gonna go to these investigators. In a few months from now, when they're after the DA, they're gonna say the DA is corrupt because even when we give in text and proof and everything that was approved by 2 police precincts, 2 detectives, they all said that that's probable cause. The DA always dismissed it, never cared, had access to these information first, and let everything go. But it turns out she was actually held criminally liable.
Right. That's why with this DA, whatever motivation they have to get whatever fame they want, they're just being dumb. Because at the end of this, if it's found out that Jonathan's guilty, there's gonna be a bunch of people calling that DA publicly, like, oh, they call him racist, that they're corrupt, all that, and it's like, you don't want that tied to you. They already get that, but now if it's proven that you try to tear down this black man, like, what benefit is that? Just because you get to do some interviews, what benefit? There is no benefit from having that bad stuff on your name. They're at the point where they have to write it until the end. You might as well stick with this lie. You already lied so much, just run with it.
I think y'all just explained it. They might have stepped in it. And they might have stepped in it so bad that they know that there are some civil actions that they are in jeopardy of.
Yep.
So just like Doc said, let's keep drawing this thing out to make it more and more likely that we come to a deal.
All right.
Anticipate.
As opposed to him getting out and suing us back to the Stone Age.
Everything here is strategic right now. The DA is against you. There's going to be a case that we're going to have against the DA eventually. Just anticipate anything that you do, any positive news story, any picture you may take with Michael B. Jordan where you guys are both smiling and everything's okay, is going to be responded with a very next report from another article because they got media influence that way. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to try to do from now till August 3rd that they're going to have a round in the chamber ready to fire off at.
Yeah, because I'm just saying, look, if I was in a DA position, I'm running. I'm giving up because ain't no way I'm gonna win this. The only way I'm gonna write it out is if I know for sure I can win.
You can't win. There's no winning because we see her on tape and her finger's fine.
Right, I agree. There is no winning. I'm just saying if I'm going to
it's
drive the car until the wheels fall off, I need to know that the wheels will not fall off. This DA knows for sure the wheels are going to fall off and they're riding it. This person is. I'm sorry.
I don't know if the DA know that. I don't know if the DA knows that the wheels gonna fall off. We're getting the roll. The reason I say that is because the Rolling Stone article came out. We don't know if the DA was a part of that. You see what I'm saying? If the DA is cooperating with a lot of these hit pieces, Variety, some of these YouTubers, things of that nature, yeah, I'm gonna let it go as hard as possible, because if I can get him to where he's down on his last leg, ready to make that plea deal, I win.
Yeah.
I win.
I don't think that some of these YouTubers are just being robots. Oh, that's what the article says. I'll read it word for word. I'll make my thumbnail the same words in that article, rather than being, I don't know, creative, or at least honest and fair.
Wait,
they're not saying
YouTubers being performative and disingenuous.
That's
what?
exactly right.
What didn't the DA? Because I remember we heard this on the DA. They mentioned that they supposedly had victims, right? That came out and never mentioned them again, but now they get mentioned again.
They never said it. Variety said it because they have sources close to the DA's office. Who the hell? Variety? You just have sources at the district attorney's office? No, it's because the DA.
The DA is their source
DA?
in his office.
Whoever these women are that the DA has, because it's multiple, and all we know about the word multiple, everyone knows that multiple means more than one. We know one of the women, that's Becky, Stephanie McMahon, that's her. And then the second woman could be, I don't know, who knows? I don't know. But that's multiple women.
Guys, okay. What if he choke slammed one of the women off the top rope, and then the other woman he put in a headlock for 2 minutes?
Hey, what they do in the privacy of their own home during sex is their own business.
No. Whatever. Let's say that those were the two people that we're talking about. What does that say about March 25th? What does that have to do with March 25th?
Well, it's just setting up the character. So they're just trying to set up
a pattern of behavior, right? Like
right.
Trying to establish character, but that's circumstantial. The only people presenting concrete evidence at this point is Priya Chaudhry. That's it.
Yeah.
We have people who saw what happened. We have video evidence of what happened. That's it.
And I'm gonna tell you this: they probably have more, because they're not going to be able to release certain things due to discovery. So if they haven't given it to the prosecution yet, or things of that nature, they can't release all the evidence. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. Plus, they do have to hold it tight. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why the DA can't counter is because if you look at any cases, no DA is going to say what I have. No DA is going to say, oh, no, we got the smoking gun right here, and then release it to...
Well,
you know
if they have it, they got to show it, though. If they do have evidence, they got to show it.
Well, when the trial, they got to show it to Chaudhry. They don't have to show it to anybody else.
Oh, yeah, right. They got to show it to Chaudhry.
And the judge, just the judge and his counsel. That's all they have to show it to. They don't have to show it to nobody else.
You haven't mentioned the judge. The judge had an opportunity to dismiss the case on May 9th. At that hearing. Didn't.
Right.
Okay. That's fine.
You're expecting the arm to fight the body.
Precisely. They could always lie outrightly and convict him like they did Cosby. I don't know about that one. And I don't want to open that kind of world. K-Dot, say that again?
Cosby was proven guilty, but I always thought it was suspect, which happens a lot, that they waited so long to say something.
Yeah, that Cosby case is wild because of the time gap.
Right. Because he would I remember
we're doing what I didn't want to do. We're doing what
I'm just saying I remember right after, and it kind of has to do with the Jonathan thing.
Fine.
I remember right after all that stuff came out,
topic we want to be talking about right now.
If y'all remember, Cosby came into some big money, and after that, the allegations came out. He came into some.
Well, I heard he wanted to buy NBC. I heard also too.
Nah, it ain't got nothing to do like that.
But apparently, underneath his place in Pittsburgh or something like that, there's like a oil line or something that's going there, and they kept trying to buy the house. This was around the time his son died, and that he wouldn't sell it, and they kept trying to.
That puts an end to the Cosby discussion. I got to do it in mid sentence.
I'm just saying.
No,
Cosby actually
we're good.
Guilty of what he did, though. Jonathan, we don't know if he's guilty yet. Cosby was found to be guilty of some of the stuff he did.
So he admitted to doing it, but they used. I'm not doing this. Listen, more people talked and they said when Jonathan Major's bus case Kang Dynasty rage is going to be fire. What does that even mean? When JM Bus?
When he
I guess you mean when he wins.
being innocent.
When he rages with Kang, it's going to be fire because he's just going to have all that anger to be able to, work on.
Kang is gonna be so much better after this whole case, man. He's gonna be filled with so much.
He is a method actor, so
he's not gonna get beat up by ants anymore.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. What happens if in Kang Dynasty? What happens if in Kang Dynasty he has to go up against the female Loki? Is that not gonna cause like issues or something?
He's not holding back. He's gonna unleash.
Shut up, Jaden.
Hey, you are sick cookie. You are sick for that.
Yo, is this a real account right here? It's Nathan Moore who says that's the name of the producer at Marvel.
Hey, Nate, I see you. I
That's his burner.
If Jonathan wins his case, will Disney Marvel? We should be asking you this question about keeping him. The thing is, they
can still drop him and let him go because look what they did with James Gunn. Those tweets was jokes. Not saying I condone them. They was joke. They have no evidence to prove that he really did what he did. They still dropped him regardless.
They wanted to do some knee-jerk reaction.
They would have done it already. Yeah.
So they can still drop him if they wanted to. They could keep him, but they could still drop him because they just don't want to be associated with the drama in general, even if he's innocent.
And then hire him back again.
Dropping him because if that were the case,
this writer strike is giving them a good opportunity to hide their cards and not let them do what they need to do.
Absolutely.
As long as the writers are keeping them from being.
I wanted Rosales to finish this thing. No, go ahead, because I interrupted you. My mistake.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that as long as the writer's strike is going, they have plausible deniability to act on what's going on with Jonathan Majors, as long as they're not working on it.
So, Anzo, you're up on what Marvel's doing by not reacting on this. You're like, you're not saying this is just a normal thing. You're saying this is a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. That's why I said I honestly believe that if the writer's strike wasn't happening, they would have probably reacted like everybody else because you got to get your movies on. How long has this been going on now for? For what, 3 months? Right?
So they're not doing a good thing. They're just doing the neutral thing. They're just doing we don't have to act now, so we're just going to zip
They're in a holding pattern.
So they're not doing some positive thing. I respect that they're not doing a bad thing, but I don't think they're doing good.
Well, here's what I'll say because of that, right? I think it's because they have so much invested in Phase 5 with Jonathan Majors. That's why. If he wasn't a big part of Phase 5, I think they would have got rid of him as well too.
At the arrest, just like the Major League Baseball, the U.S. Army ads.
Yeah,
we got a few more. Jaden.
What were they going to do? Recast them? Because that worked out so well last time. Come on.
He's referring to recasting T'Challa. And if you're new here, ever since December of 2020, when Kevin Feige stood on a stage and said,
his portrayal of T'Challa, the Black Panther, is iconic and transcends any iteration of the character in any other medium from Marvel's past. And it's for that reason that we will not recast the character.
Ever since that, and they tried to praise, they gave Chadwick Boseman so much praise that it came at the expense of the highest impactful dark-skinned character in the history of film, who was a comic book character which existed prior to Chadwick Boseman playing the character. He was actually in things like this, the Fantastic 452, where he debuted back in 1966 and has had many appearances in different mediums. And Chadwick is not the only person to have ever portrayed him. Rather than continuing the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and everything he did to get this character at the position that he's in to become the next big superhero, and this one just would happen to have a pigmentation that is darker than pink and more brownish. That was happening there. Marvel decided we're not going to have that continue. So somebody else can be the Black Panther.
So wait, we couldn't talk about Bill Cosby, but this is okay, right? Chill.
I let the Bill Cosby conversation go a little bit long. I can give 60 seconds.
Is very important, Bill Cosby. We don't need to recast Bill Cosby. We moved on.
To recast Bill Cosby.
What's that superhero movie that Bill Cosby was in?
Leonard Part 6.
Yeah, so
Leonard Part 6.
Leonard, they'll recast. They'll recast.
Get a new Leonard.
We've got Cornelius who says they're gonna kill all the Kangs and replace them with Kang Jr.
Yeah. Suicide.
Oh, the only conspiracy theory here is that since Fox News was created from the OJ case, they're willing to lie for money. Off the top rope, the Avengers are going to be.
The OJ one is kind of iffy too. Those are because OJ was kind of he was being weird with that.
Listen, I'll say this: Fox News, like, you have to think. You can't just take anything they say. They will all lie. Every single one of them will lie. You know what I mean? So
Don't
you
think
gotta.
that CNN or MSNBC are telling you the whole truth. And
As long as they say the word allegedly, then they can say whatever they want.
Say what they want to say. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, so allegedly Rolling Stone is after me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
You got it all. So why are we assuming he'll?
You have confirmed that such an event is possible. Who are your sources? Oh, I can't reveal my sources.
You know.
Why are we assuming he'll be back at the top? Nowadays, the bare minimum is enough to condemn you, and then.
Oh no, I don't think he's gonna be completely back at the top. But the audience people I'm specifically speaking to,
because he also knows that it was his performance that saved that damn movie. So
Danny says there should have been a statute of limitations on some crime. If you're talking about majors, I mean, there's the statute of limitations.
He's talking about all them other folks y'all keep bringing up.
Yeah.
Random Post experiment. The report that came out last week with videos and pictures shows the sequence of events, and that totally exonerates him. This looks like it's a witch hunt. Mm-hmm. He was also on the original Superman movie. What up, Gray? Was Cosby in the Superman movie?
No. I was Superman movie.
Cosby. The original Superman movie is a long time ago. So
yeah, I know.
Cosby was talking a bunch of junk about Trump, and Trump got him out of the way by digging all that Cosby mess. Sure. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, we're not doing that again. Listen, we're about to end the stream. If you have any last things to say, I'm gonna dedicate this time to some live chats. And until let's read it, we're right here. Chill. Make sure Rolling Stone hasn't embedded scrolls around you. Get out of here.
I forgot to mention, and I think Jonathan should have might as well ran with this because another person did it, and they're getting a lot of sympathy. He should have just pulled the old mental illness card like Ezra Miller, and boom. I'm just saying he should have pulled it. I would. I wouldn't I'm going through some stuff.
I don't think he has the right complexion for that one.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. It works for Ezra, but Jonathan Majors, they'd have been like, nope. We know you're the angry black man. We know that.
All right, well, if that's the case, he should have got to do what RDJ did in Tropic Thunder. Shoot, I'm trying to give Jonathan
I'm a dude playing the dude.
I'm trying to get this man a way out. He got 2 ways out.
Where was Cosby in Superman? I remember
definitely a scroll.
Richard Pryor being in Superman.
Richard Pryor was in 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
He was in
Superman 4. Superman 3. Sorry, 3.
But where was Cosby in all this?
Yeah, I don't remember Cosby being in Superman.
No.
Law and Order SVU writers are going to use all of this when they get back to work.
Hey, the first episode of the new season is going to be a black actor and a white woman. Watch it.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, who do you have in Money in the Bank? Is it LA Knight or is it Logan Paul? Because I can't decide.
I think he's talking about
for Money in the Bank tonight.
Yeah, the wrestling event.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna have to put my money on LA Knight because he's getting right up to that point where he's about to cross that Rubicon and be one of the top players. So yeah, LA Knight.
DC fans, is Chill more Batman or The Question?
Which question? There's 3 different. There's 3 variations of the Question character.
I think you're more. Well,
I want to be Batman. I don't want to be The Question.
Chill's not beating up mentally ill people that have problems, which Batman does.
Oh.
So you are doing the
Arkham Asylum, don't he? He loves to beat up the patients at Arkham Asylum.
I love that game.
Well, they keep coming back for more. It's not his fault.
I didn't even play the sequels. Hasn't it been proven that the Rolling Stone, not Stones, Stones is the band with the S, is on the government paywall plus a little unethical? Has that been proven? I wouldn't know.
I mean, yeah.
You're supposed to say allegedly, by the way. You're supposed to say allegedly before everything.
According to anonymous sources.
There you go.
all these news outlets got insight into everything. I think TMZ, even if someone gets admitted to a hospital like a celebrity or something, they know exactly who. they'll know
Yeah, they
like who's like, oh, Jamie Foxx is in the hospital, and TMZ would have leaked it because they have somebody on the inside that tells them this stuff.
That's another thing. How many of them 40 people in the op-ed from Rolling Stone were paid? I don't think everybody just offered up that information just for free. They clearly didn't want to be involved with it because no one gave them name. So how many of them people did you pay to speak?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And does that go to the credibility of the story altogether?
Hey, you talked about this, Marcus. Jonathan is facing more backlash than Dana White.
That's
We saw it in 4K. This man turned around and Big Show slapped his wife. Now
that's what I said. That's what I said with Ezra and even Dana White in 4K and
Dana
on
White
camera.
but
didn't
there's
even
no
claim
district
anything.
attorney.
He said she hit me first. It's a marital dispute. Mind your business. And he went back to running UFC.
But that
Not only
happened in
were they
Mexico.
married, but that happened in Mexico. So in Mexico, the rules are different. What you can do with your property.
There's no DA.
But it's just still like the amount of hate that Dana White got is like minimal compared to what Jonathan is getting for you.
Okay.
It's just hate itself.
He can't be
Hold on.
fired.
For those of you that missed it, Rosales' last line was, "There's different rules on how you treat your property."
Oh, he said that?
Whoa.
In Mexico.
Way to
In Mexico.
delegitimize our entire live stream. We now just became
Wow.
the Women Haters Club for
Oh yeah, because that's something new for me. That's something new for me. It really is.
I was muted for a while, so
And this is Superman too. This is the picture. A cameo I think he's talking about.
Oh, Bill Cosby's photo in the background you're talking about right there.
Bill Cosby was in the original.
That's what they talk about?
That's like saying the Silver Surfer was in what's that movie by Quentin Tarantino, the first one he did.
Pulp Fiction.
Reservoir Dogs.
That's like saying the Silver Surfer was in Pulp Fiction because there was a picture of the surfer in the background.
Red pill alert. Legal repercussions of the media backlash are two different things. Then in gray adds, this is the same DA's office that charged the man for shooting himself in the leg.
That's that New York gun laws, though.
Yeah. Can't have a gun.
They didn't charge him for shooting himself in the leg. They charged him for possession of the firearm and shooting it.
Do you think he'll do it?
What they talking about, Classico Bird? Talking about Classico Bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought it across state lines also.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Sonadek has been with us since the beginning of the stream. Thanks for joining, Sonadek. Do you think he'll do an Oprah interview after this? He says, I hope not. Ditto. Is there anyone who does hope he does an Oprah interview right now?
Don't touch Oprah. Don't touch Gail. Leave him alone.
Yeah, don't go to none of those.
Leave him alone.
Please don't.
You want to sit down with somebody? Go see what Don Lemon doing after he got fired from CNN.
Actually,
go
come
pick
over
up
here
with Don or something.
Come
Don't
over.
Nah, go to Chill. Nah, go to Chill. Go to Chill.
Go to Chill the whole time. Go to Chill.
Better yet, I think Jonathan would have a better chance doing an interview with Joe Rogan instead.
That would be nice, a Joe Rogan interview. But then your reputation doesn't help because the people who want to hate you hate Joe Rogan because of the last 3 years of COVID. We also have Kai Cenat, who's on Twitch. We've got you got media who are going to be independent and not beholden.
Rogan has that.
Kai Cenat cannot host an interview. I see, he's good, but he doesn't have.
He'll probably sit down with The View.
Oh my God! Please, not The View. Marcus is about to give Joe Rogan some credit. I don't care what you think of Joe Rogan. The fact is that the people who are pissed off at you are not Joe Rogan listeners, and the fact that you're there on that neck of the woods of the internet means, you definitely did it. Look at you trying to go Red Pill Central.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Sure.
Scotty says that Plaxico got sent up near me, so he was in a city jail. He's upstate New York. Or right, let me read that again. Wasn't. Plaxico got sent up near me, so he wasn't in a city jail, he says. No Oprah, no Gail, no who's Robin Roberts? Oh, her!
Robin That's Good Morning America.
Robin Roberts.
I got things to say. Majors does a Tyler Perry films. Yeah, Tyler Perry will hire him, sure.
Oh, I'm be so mad if he does some Tyler Perry movie.
No. Help, man! Y'all trying to
better not get that desperate. Let's go do some A24 movies.
Who's gonna hire him? Though?
Tyler Perry will hire him for sure. He doesn't care.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Man, Tyler
Okay, I'm
Perry
gonna
would shit his
I'm gonna
pants if
get in
Jonathan
trouble
Majors
for
said he
this.
wanted to be in one of his movies.
Majority, not saying all of them fell off or they're not doing any good, but majority of the black actors that aren't really as relevant today do Tyler Perry movies. Even the ones that used to be like great back in the day, they are just doing Tyler Perry movies. You know, it's I don't want to see him in that position. That's not a good position.
Not all of them. You won't
Don't
see
do
Wesley
that.
Snipes in
Don't you
Tyler
go mess
Perry
with
movie.
that, man.
No.
Will Smith hasn't done a film since that incident there. I mean, he
Yes,
had
he
one
has.
that came out, but I think they filmed that before.
Emancipation.
Now we
Yeah, it
He's
was
had
filmed before. It was
cameo.
Bad Boys 4. Well, we just cut the filming on Bad Boys 4, but he's doing Bad Boys 4.
Yeah, shout out to
he
Sony.
is.
Those are
Sony's
cameos.
great.
Those are small
I am Legend
features.
2. I am Legend 2.
Malika Andrews got one in the chamber
one
for
in
the
Hey,
ESPN.
swear to God, whenever this stuff ends, Malika Andrews is going to come on NBA The Jump and say,
Facts.
today, Jonathan
Some
Majors,
stupid crap, yeah.
I'm like, yo, Malika, fam.
Malika need to chill. She got heat for all black men.
That's
Facts.
she got
She got smoke for all the black men. I'm trying to tell you.
I think it's more so a woman thing that we've been so historically oppressed that when it's time to talk about this coach who just got hired, I'm going to mention how when he was in college that he was accused, and I remember the charges were actually dropped. And then she'll talk about how he was
He
hired.
knew that the draft wasn't even the criminal in question. Like, he was just involved in a case. He was named in an indictment for blah, 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 blah. Yo, lady!
Was just drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. You know?
No reason at all to bring that up. At all. Like, none.
But there's an audience who does care to hear about stuff like that. If you want to be emotionally invested in somebody, you want to know that they have charges where they put hands on women. And so that's what service she's providing.
No, but that guy, he was...
Nah, not on draft night.
On draft night? Yeah, on draft night?
When is it wrong? Okay, so I believe it's a ridiculous thing to bring up because he wasn't the one who did it. But let's say there's a guy who did do it. I don't care if it's draft night. You did it. You're accountable for what you did.
No, he didn't do it.
He didn't do it, yeah.
Why don't you hop on the story when it happens? If you care, Malika Andrews, why don't you use your platform to propel the story when it happens, not when it's convenient to you?
She didn't talk about Dana White. She didn't talk about Dana White.
Well, she covers basketball.
And maybe Jonathan
sports.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Jonathan Majors can do Grace Randolph.
Oh, the YouTuber here, and we don't slander other YouTubers, especially. And we mentioned a YouTuber by name here. If you're gonna say a YouTuber's name here, it's only to say nice things. Okay.
I will slander something, but it's Marvel related. Chill, because I need to confront you about this.
Hey, nobody has a problem slandering me, so I don't know. I don't see how this.
I'm very polite to you, Jada fanboy. I haven't clipped you. I've never wronged. I've never used some sort of like thing like this before.
You're an idiot.
I've never gone back and heard you talk. Just so I can do.
But
no,
chill.
I'm for you.
Just kick Kate out before he says what he's gonna say.
No. Look, it has to be questioned because it's a Marvel based channel, and I need to say this.
I trust.
I'm gonna keep it fair. This is a Marvel based channel. Why is it? And we talked about this on my stream yesterday. Not gonna get no clear answer. Why is it that none of your live action Spider-Man sound like they're from New York? Even your black one.
You're right.
Huh? Why is that?
I don't know.
Why doesn't Peter Parker talk like he's from New York?
Mind your business. That's why.
You know what I mean?
Because the Flash can't
y'all know that is a legitimate problem with these Spider-Man.
Flash can't run. That's why.
Hey. Blame Zack Snyder. I don't have nothing to do with that.
No, you told us it was going to be great. You said the Flash problem. Great. I was listening to K-Dot. K-Dot said, "Oh, the Flash is going to be great, guys. It's going to be."
Oh no, I like the movie, but I'm not gonna lie to you that I don't like Ezra Miller's run. I never defended that run. That run was crazy.
Even after
Michael
the movie,
B
he said it was great.
Michael B can hire him. That's true. James Gunn just experienced some of this stuff from Marvel where they got rid of him and brought him back. He can be playing the Green Lantern. You know, not the primary Green Lantern, but the secondary one that is Jon Stewart. He could do that. There's going to be people looking out to hook him up, not just Tyler Perry.
I think you got it. I like Jon Stewart, but give Jonathan Majors Icon. That would be like
money.
That would be a lot better.
You still going on 2 hours? No, I'm right about done. I didn't want it to go this long, but we went 2 hours. Philip Lindsay, look at him. He's just smiling. He's like, I think something happened.
But chill. You realize if Marvel drops him, DC, we gain him.
Shut up.
You realize
what are you guys going to do with him?
DC needs 5 years, man.
We can give him Black Lightning. We got Green Lantern. We got
We know what you
Icon.
could do.
All I'm
What
thinking
are you
about right
going
now
to
is
do?
that
Shit, we can make him
all I
older,
can't-
static somehow.
Hold on.
Put some dreads on his head. We'll
Fellas,
do
we
it.
are 1 hour and 59 minutes, and it really matters to me very much that this doesn't reach the 2 hour thing because numerically just doesn't look the same. You know, people are more inclined to click on something short. So yeah, people say Mr. Terrific, Mr. Terrific. Listen, that's the stream. All of us have names that you can see there. Type them in. You'll find our channels because we're all YouTube here. And support us if you like things that we say. And if you dislike what we say, don't thumbs us up.
There.
Dislike us. Don't engage. Peace.
Deuce.